Hello everyone, and welcome to Fat 50 and Running a Marathon, a channel dedicated to health, diet, fitness, and goal achievement. I'm your humble host, Topher, and I hope you'll give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, share your thoughts, opinions, and relatable stories in the comments section. This is the Slip Up Saturday video for the 16th of November, 2024. First I want to address what I've been reading, because I'm going to mention one of the books at the end, because that basically leads to this week's question. So I once again read Finish by Jon Acuff, and I know I've mentioned that book many times in the Thick or Thin Thursday series, but I'm going to mention it one more time because I came across this one particular quote that I think is really good, and having read this 4 times, I'm still finding new stuff. But this particular quote, I'm going to read it actually word for word, is, "If I try, I might fail. If I never try, at least I know the outcome." Are you guilty of this? I know that I certainly have been. And so that's why, once again, little treasures like this little statement are why I believe you should read the book Finish by Jon Acuff. I think it's a great book. I think everybody should be reading it, but especially if you're like me and you have difficulty finishing projects. I once again read The Botany of Desire by Michael Pollan. He, in this book, makes a strong argument for whether we created agriculture or agriculture was something that nature basically instructed us to create. One of the great parallels that he makes to this is the question of the squirrels and the acorns. In that squirrels eat acorns, but they move them to other places and they forget about them, and this creates the propagation of oak trees. Now, who's benefiting by that? The squirrels losing out on the acorn, but the oak trees are increasing their number. Another point he brings up is the fact that Venus flytraps and other insect-eating plants use means by which to attract insects in specific. So, excuse me, the question is, did the tulip attract the Dutch so much that they actually grew to such an economic structure that depended upon the tulip that it basically folded? Was that the work of the tulip itself? So that's the argument that he makes in that, and again, that is The Botany of Desire by Michael Pollan. Just finished reading the third Played by Dan Barber. Great book. I'm going to leave a link to his TED Talk in the description of this video. I think he's, it's to try and sum it up, to try and point out some of the finer points of this book would be too difficult. So I'm just going to say it's basically about farm to table eating. And that is the simplest way I can think to explain this book. It's definitely a book I'm going to want to read 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And I'm going to be gleaning bits of information from it like I did from Jon Acuff's Finish. So that's the other book that I finished. It was quite a book. It was quite a long book, but I did manage to finish it this week. Finally, the book that I want to mention that I finished this week, excuse me, is Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg. And Tiny Habits is kind of in the same vein as Jon Acuff, talking about taking your goals and making them smaller and smaller and smaller. And BJ Fogg brings up the idea that, let's say you wanted to do 50 push-ups a day. That was your goal. You wanted to do that. What if you started with the tiniest of habits, which was to do 2 wall push-ups a day? I'm going to demonstrate what I mean by that. Whereby you're actually just putting your weight against the wall and pushing yourself away from the wall, and you're doing that 2 times. Now, you may say to yourself, that seems ridiculous. Why would anybody have a goal like that? The reason you have a goal like that is that if you have a goal like that, it's virtually impossible for you not to meet your goal. If you were sick with pneumonia, you could probably get up and do 2 wall push-ups like that. That's the idea behind the tiny habit. You start with something as simple as that, as the tiny habit. And something that Nancy and I have been talking about, and we haven't put into application yet, and that's going to lead to this week's question, is the fact that we have yet to do any sort of exercising, whether it's yoga or Tai Chi. Now, yoga, part of it is finding enough space to do it, but there's no reason we haven't done Tai Chi. And what we resolved was our tiniest of habit would be to get the DVD player out, the portable DVD player out, and set it up, turn it on. That's all we're asking of ourselves. And I've been wanting to get outside and walk again because the doctor said he wanted me to start walking again and he wanted me to try putting on a regular running shoe. And I haven't done that yet. And I decided what I need to do is I need to get dressed. That's all I have to do. Before I had it in my head, I had to get dressed. I had to get downstairs. All I'm asking of myself is that I get dressed in walking clothes. And I'm trying to break things down to the tiniest of habits. And that's what you do with BJ Fogg's suggestion in Tiny Habits, is you find out what is the very smallest of habits that would indicate you're on your way to doing what it is you want to do, that you would like to establish for yourself. And so I'm going to leave, as always, I'm going to leave a link to the information about each of these books down below. I'm talking about these books because I don't have a whole lot more to talk about. One more thing I do want to bring up before before we go to this week's question. You see this? It's an Andes mint. Back in the day, as recently as actually 5 years ago, I could have unwrapped 5, 6 of these and shoved the whole thing in my mouth. Very recently, I was given 4 of these, and each and every single one. First of all, I didn't eat them all at one sitting. I ate them at 4 different times, and that's remarkable for me. So this is what I'm talking about with deliberate eating. And so each time I enjoyed one of these, I broke it into 3 pieces. I had 3 bites off of each one of these. And I bring that up because it is deliberate eating, it is smaller bites, and it is everything I've been talking about. And it's something that I did without even thinking about it. I kid you not. The biting it into 3 pieces, I didn't even think about it. I actually looked down and went, oh my God, look what I did. I broke this into 3 pieces. I bit into this twice and ended up with this last piece in my hand. And I was amazed that I had just done that without even thinking about it. And I do credit that to the fact that I've been very deliberately and trying very slowly to eat. And so that is where I'm going with my deliberate eating. Now, getting to this week's question, which I didn't get on Thursday because this is a Slip-Up Saturday video. But the question is, how tiny could you make a habit in order to get to your goal? How tiny could you make it so that every single day, regardless of circumstances, you would do that habit and make that your goal? To do that habit to the point that it became habitual. That was all you would ask of yourself any given day. So that anything above and beyond would be, as they say, gravy. What could you do? What right now are you wanting to accomplish, but you're making it too big of a mountain and not answering the question properly? How do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. So what is your tiny habit? What is your first bite on that elephant? That's my question to you this week. So, I want to thank you for watching, and I'm sorry about this being a Slip-Up Saturday video, but, that's kind of the way things go. But I did want to try and get this done because, that's the deal, is I set up the possibility of not having the time and wherewithal to get things done on Thursdays, and I couldn't get it done this past Thursday, so here we are with this Slip-Up Saturday video. So thank you once again for watching, and I'm sorry for rambling. And remember, only by taking care of ourselves first are we capable of taking care of others. Topher.